Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we are back to LEGO Star Wars 3, The Clone Wars. And I suppose it's a new day and we've got the score multiplier and I should probably switch over here to Yoda before we start any levels. What we have here is an issue of just being a little short on cash. I'm barely at 50,000 after I bought the score times 2 multiplier, and they want me to have a million, I believe, for score times 4. And that's not gonna happen quickly unless I'm very careful to at the very least run around this area and get to that one purple stud. It's funny as Yoda's crawling through there and as the game is locking up, his way of holding his lightsaber, which I don't think that's particularly how we saw him holding it in the movies. It's just like cutting through everything, which is kind of silly. But what's even sillier is that I'm sure true Star Wars fans would argue that he should be cutting the entire ship in half, if that's the case with the lightsabers, because that is at least one silly argument Star Wars fans have made, is that if you turned a lightsaber upside down and dropped it on the surface of a planet, it would fall right through the center of it, because nothing seems to stop the cutting force of it. Anyways, well, we're now up to 80,000, so that's a beginning. Let's begin the level. Almost certainly, predictably, this Legacy of Terror is going to be yet another one of these real-time strategy levels. It would be surprising if it wasn't. If just somehow in this path they decided to give us a standard LEGO experience. There was one section in the previous level, after doing a very long real-time strategy level, that crashed twice, and I had to play it for a third time and then came back with a second episode to do that second part. There was a small part in there where we played as a Lego minifigs Jedis running around doing not very much really. But I don't believe there will be anymore. I bet this is 100% just real-time strategy. Is it possible that this whole element wasn't available in some form of this game being released, and the real-time strategy got added later as some kind of add-on or DLC or something? I bet it was before the time of DLC, and frankly, if it was DLC, I don't think people would have bought it since it looks so different. Well, that we almost saw that guy's face there. So she's like a Jedi and a good guy too, which is kind of weird. That she looks kind of like she would be a bad guy, all dressed in black. But I'm pretty sure she's one of the good team, which I guess that's a good way to break traditions. What's funny about that spaceship is it had a painting of an alien on the side of it, like they used to do in World War II. They'd paint provocative pictures of girls on the side of bombers and planes. So, like, everybody here, well, it's not a real-time strategy, so I guess I'm happy for that. And I guess I'm not supposed to just jump down this hole. I can't. Interesting. That One would think that they should drop some bricks on top of that, make it obvious that you can't go that way. Let's see, we've got one guy who has the power to control other people, but oh, here they are. I was thinking to myself, wait a minute, you can't, there aren't any other people around here to control. But I guess there are. And then I've got to come over, where's the target reticle? Come on, I guess I have to control these guys a second time and give them commands. It's kind of silly, you're right next to him, you think you could just talk to them and tell them. So then I have to be another time. It's really not a terrible idea controlling other soldiers, but for a Lego game, it's just something you weren't gonna ever use a lot of. Lego's not gonna let you have military style games. This is more of a system you might consider implementing. Let's see, if you were making a war game. And so over here, I don't think we can build a platform here, but let's see. Interesting. You see, these guys just kind of fire wildly. In true tradition of stormtroopers, there's a meme on the internet where like one soldier actually at one point actually hit somebody in the movies, and they're saying that he should get an award for the best stormtrooper ever, considering the joke is that none of the other ones never hit anything, which is true. I mean, that's just part of the flaw in George Lucas's directing and writing is that George Lucas's writing in particular is that they want action scenes, but they don't want any consequences for action scenes. If I was directing Star Wars in modern time, I would almost certainly have a lot of more characters that were getting shot a lot of the time. So I would intentionally have red shirts effectively running around getting hurt. This is also true in the Star Trek series also, that they very rarely wanted any consequences for any of those for any of the action or violence sequences. And the one time that an actual important main character died in Star Trek was because the actors didn't want to do it. Well, actually there was 2 times when that happened, isn't it? Because Leonard Nimoy, I guess I can build a thing. Leonard Nimoy wasn't certain he was going to come back, so they killed him in Star Trek 3, the movie. And Tasha Yar didn't think Star Trek The Next Generation was going to go anywhere, so they killed her off in the TV series. And let's just go ahead and see if we can play a little bit of a balancing game here. Nope. And honestly, Tasha, the actress who played Tasha Yar, the game's locking up, in Star Trek, was not wrong. It really took a replacing of the entire writing team of the next generation, and to turn the next generation into a good series. The first season that she was on was really bad. And a big part of that is because actually Gene Roddenberry didn't want the writers to write any conflict, and because the writers couldn't write any conflict, then they had no idea what to do. Oh, this is going to be interesting. What do I do with this piece then? I guess I'll have to do something like that. This guy doesn't have a double jump, so... Bring this over here. Well, that sure seemed like there was going to be more to that than what we got. Here we have a non-Jedi. I want to see him actually... well, he throws a bomb, so I won't use him. So, non-Jedi do use their hands to build things. Boy! That's 11 minutes to get through one room. And that's kind of surprising, considering how short the real-time strategy levels are. And it goes to show you, really, that you don't really have to do too much to make a Lego scene or a Lego level in itself. You put like 3 scenes together and you've got a level, and it can easily take a player, if you put the things they need to do on opposite sides and put a few puzzles behind it. It can easily take 10-15 minutes to do a level, instead of running around a real-time strategy section that doesn't work and isn't fun. And if they give me a real-time strategy section after this would be really annoying. I would suspect that they came to the realization that they couldn't do that for the final thing, because we're gonna probably end up doing a boss battle. And see, this is not working unless you're kind of directly on the way. Now, I'm trying to get as many studs as possible while I'm doing this too, because opportunities have been very scarce to get this. We can see this level in particular is proving to be helpful in this experience. No real enemies to fight. Is that because in the cartoon sequence here, they didn't fight any enemies for real? He has a little flashlight on his head, I just realized that. Or is it because they're just trying to be nice? Well, no, this is supposed to be spooky, I guess. So that makes sense. If I'm out almost at 100,000 studs and I still haven't gotten the true Jedi, that tells me that this level might be longer than I think. Let's go ahead and hit these. Did my guys come with me? Well, if my guys did come with me, they're way back there, and I have no interest in bringing them up here just to shoot this. So we'll do that in free play. There is something in the Star Wars series too about how there's this Jedi Order and we don't really know anything about it at all, and it seems strange that they never really touched upon the history. Of course, as soon as George Lucas tried to explain the Jedis even a little bit, he came up with midi-chlorians, and nobody liked that either. So that is probably one of the many points where I would disagree with actual Star Wars fans, as I would say you've done the midichlorian thing, you've explained it, so now you need to build the religion of the Jedi around that, and have some mystery and intrigue revealed and created because of that. Because imagine a religious sect and order that knew their powers were coming from just these particles, or are midichlorians organisms? Are they alive? I don't know. And that would be it. I once proposed a interesting thought that there must be in the Star Wars universe, there doesn't, they don't have to. What are these things that are breaking in the ice? There might be larger creatures, like giant-sized creatures, that could be a much larger collection of midichlorians, or could have created the midichlorians to control the entire universe. And it might be a millennium-long con of taking the entire Star Wars galaxies. Well, what galaxy? I guess if it's a galaxy far away, they say a galaxy instead of galaxies. I don't know what I'm building here. It looks like I'm gonna build a minifig statue, but I've got to build it in pieces. So I've got to find the legs one by one, slowly put it together. And see, I thought it was the other leg. There's such little detail here. So yeah, it would be kind of a Star Trek-esque story to tell, to have, where's the other arm? To have like this giant creature floating in space as big as a planet, spewing out midichlorians and subtly affecting people by giving them powers. Oh, it's back here. But I'm not sure that's particularly very Star Wars when you get down to it, because Star Wars seems to be more about face-to-face interaction versus a giant monster interaction, although we do have a few action sequences there. I guess inherently that is the problem, though, with all of Star Wars, is it's always just going to be this action series that's going to slightly disappoint. And I'm sure that's what the book series and the extended universe... Man, are these zombie things? Because they're losing their heads and it's not killing them. But yeah, if the ancient Jedi orders knew that midichlorians existed and hid that from the people, that would be an interesting tale to tell. And then you could have somebody who discovers that and decides to let it become aware, and maybe that's where the Sith originates, and it just gets perverted into something different. The Sith Order in particular is a very interesting idea, that there's always only a master and a apprentice in the Sith. It's like, where did that theory come from? Why is that helpful, honestly? So this is like all stuff I think that we can't do right now. wouldn't it be better for the Sith to have many apprentices and try to grow in number? Or do they know something about the Force? Is that why the Emperor is really powerful? Is because he doesn't allow a bunch of other Force users to potentially drain the midi-chlorians in the room, or drain the power from areas near him. Is it a Highlander series situation where every Jedi he kills, he gains their powers? I would have thought Lego would have been a little bit upset seeing the minifigures broken here. This seems like something I would, if I was working for Lego, I'd say no, you can't in our licensed games break minifigures or break bricks. We don't want to send out that the idea that bricks are broken. And when the legs come off there, particularly, their Lego minifig legs don't come off. They're not designed to come off, at least. And this level's taking forever. Wow, 21 minutes. So you could have taken half of this level and broken it. See, this is a great example of why the level system is just hurting them too. If they didn't have levels and the story was just one long story, I know for a kids game that would encourage kids to play the games forever, but as long as you just can always save and continue from any point, which is probably beyond the power of the engine here, but if that was the case, that would be great, and I think that's what they should go for. Like, levels as a concept in games is an old-fashioned dying concept. It still makes sense in a lot of things. When you're doing cell phone games and puzzles like Angry Birds, that makes sense. But more and more, it's better just to have everything be one linear story, like a book or a movie. And it took us 22 minutes to get to this point. There's like some kind of statue of a creature. I'm gonna put a worm in here. This is like Star Trek. Oh, that's not a statue. That's the Queen. And this is like Aliens now. With a loader. Is that what that was? Oh yeah, this was totally a joke and a reference to Aliens. There's a alien queen right there. This is completely a ripoff of Aliens. Interesting. A reference that most kids probably won't get, because they shouldn't have watched Aliens. Because it's too scary and not age appropriate. Okay. What am I supposed to do? She's shooting things at me. And I can't get my lightsaber to come out. Why am I... Oh, because they stole my lightsabers up there. Okay. And the game's locking up. Okay. Where'd that go? Where'd that purple one go? Didn't work anywhere as much as I would have liked it to. See if I could get on top of this. There's a wall there. It won't let me go until... And this thing is... I assume it's not going to let me up there until I get a third one. So we're just kind of waiting for it to shoot the final purple one. I can't use the force to shoot these things backwards. So it's kind of cool here. We're getting this backstory and some more development of these flying characters. But honestly, I feel like the LEGO Star Wars series is obsessed with these flying characters more than they really should be. I'm trying to break the bones that are around there, but it didn't work. So now I can break another one to have it fall down on her, hopefully. Okay, this is explosive, so I need her to shoot these explosive ones over this way. Right there, that's exactly what it is. See, that doesn't make the most amount of sense, really. Get it a little bit closer. I can't break these bones, and I can't break these bones. And then I find the collectible. Go ahead and hit X, and he carves out the outside of the column to show the Lego center. And so now I can just come over here and save the day. And he just laser cutted the laser restraint, like, and they picked up the bad guy and left the good girl. And then saved the good girl, I guess. And now we're getting chased. And we've got this whole chase sequence too. So you've got here what is easily the combination of 3 or 4 levels. Well, something that could at least be broken up into 3 or 4 levels of gameplay instead of the real-time strategy things. And they didn't do it. Instead, it's all just merged into this incredibly long thing. And these zombie bugs. And she's shooting them like crazy. And they get all shot out through a tornado. Just that conveniently appeared. And we caught the bad guy. And we're done with the level. Now it's 30 minutes, and if you've broken those 30 minutes into 10-minute sections, you could have replaced 3 of the 4 real-time strategy sections, and that's totally what they should have done. I'm up to 300,000 studs now. That's also a nice thing. I might very well turn out that I will get score times 4, maybe even score times 6 before I ever get true Jedi or all the collectibles. And so when I get all the mini kits in free play mode, that'll give me 100,000 potentially times 2 or times 4 or times 6, and that in itself might help. We also might get us times 8 or times 3, which is what we've seen before in Lego Indiana Jones 2, I believe, there was a score times 2, a score times 4, a score times 3, which we've never seen in times 3, which then would drastically increase the amount of things. And here the game is locking up in the credits. It's ridiculous. And for content ID reasons and such, I'm just going to go ahead and skip this. We're at 23.6% done. And not just for content ID, but also for time reasons. Completely awful series there. And I just don't know how any of this in the end works. And I guess what I should do is bite the bullet and play as Yoda here, since we're back to that. And now we're going to have 6 more missions here, and hopefully none of them are real-time strategy. There, 1, 2 were real-time strategy. Jedi Crash was flying around, I believe. This was real-time strategy, and then this was real-time strategy, and then this wasn't. So you're talking 4 out of 6 real-time strategies. Plus, one of these was real-time strategy too, levels. So I would guess that there, if we get lucky, there will only be one. We would be asking too much probably at this point to say we don't get any. I'm gonna go ahead and bite the bullet here and run through here a second time to get the studs. After this, what we'll do starting next recording is we'll run into the level and then play, and at the end of playing each level I'll run around as Yoda a second time, because I still do have that feeling that we need to grind a little bit. We have 6 levels, for example, that to go, and ideally I want at least score times 4 unlocked. But these little silver things, probably not as big of a deal. I imagine if I just get the blues and the golds that are hiding under this pathway, that should be good enough. Just try to get as much as possible. Little things don't really matter. Like that 1 silver is not going to give me that much. This 6 silver is not... these 6 silver ones are not going to give me that much. This over here has a blue, so that might be worth it. But breaking these, there's just a couple of golds and a bunch of silvers. Breaking these is just a couple of golds and silvers. It's really not adding up to everything. This is interesting. Is my red brick detector? It is on, but it's not pointing to anything, so I must have gotten that 1 red brick that was close to this area. Wow, it is shocking that the game thinks that we've been playing for 5.5 hours. It's possible that that is true, but it certainly doesn't feel like it, and it certainly hasn't been 5.5 entertaining hours. Anyways, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on basically any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.